Let's just go over here. And we want these to start very small. Let's do a transform as well here. Right, transform. Let's transform it down to something like this. All right. And we might tweak this animation later depending on what we're going to do. But first what we're going to do is we're going to write this out as an alembic again. So let's do rob alembic output. Just make a path for it. Just say path equals, we're going to just call it, I guess, plan / side branch. All right. And let's plug it in. Let's put it to publish. Again, this is why these presets are super useful. Build hierarchy for a path. Let's call it side branch. Just do the entire frame range. It's not going to be that big. And we're going to load it back in. Let's just reference the original. All right. Oh, we're on frame 69. Nice. All right. So let's display. Let's see, we have the same thing that we had before. We're not going to add the jobs here yet because we're going to do that later on the entire plant. Well, the entire plant without the leaves, else it's going to just be too heavy. But we're going to move this out of the way and just copy this to our plant. So not much will have changed here. So it's doing the growing in, blah, 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 something like that. So that works. But now we need to time offset. So there's a little trick here. And that's called set prim intrinsic. This is the reason why we're using alembics instead of BGOs. It's also possible to offset BGO sequences. The problem is with BGO sequences, it's on an integer frame. It's like on a per frame basis. You can write out subframes, but alembics is just a lot easier. So if we select this alembic and we go to geometry spreadsheet and we look into primitives and then prim intrinsic like we were before, so ABC frame, this is the internal frame that the alembic is reading. So that's and intrinsics are stuff that's intrinsic to the thing. So there's also the packed full transforms. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and like the packed pivot and a whole bunch of stuff. And you can actually use this and override the stuff that might generally you don't use it that much, but it can be super powerful. For example, this is one of those. So what we can do is we can set this prim intrinsic with an attribute. So let's just first try it with a wrangle, just ourselves. And let's just type set prim intrinsic. And let's just look at the Haupt file. So let's just F1 on it. So let's look. All right. So what do we need? Geo handle, the name of what do we want to, like which intrinsic do we want to change or set. Primitive number, value, so that can be the attribute, and then just mode set. Right, so let's just try that. So first, so geohandle 0, we want to set ABC frame, primitive number for every point, because later we're going to do it on the, because it's a packed thing, later we're going to do it on the copy, so it's for every point number because they're packed. Point number, value is going to be the attribute. Let's put it to 0 for now. And then set. All right, let's see if this works. So it doesn't error, so that seems to work. So you can see if we're on here, it's at this intrinsic thing. And then we're going to click on this. It's still not working. Let's see if we did everything right. Just try with 0. No. Why is it not working? So the issue was that it only works. You need to specify that it's a float value here. So if I type 1, it's not working. If I type 1.0, and it is working, because we need to override it as a float value. So let's just do something ourselves. Let's just make a float for now. Float grow equals channel float. So we just have a slider, and then let's put our attribute in there, or our variable. So let's put it in there, and now we have a slider, and you can see this slider is going to set the alembic frame, and you can see this can be subframes, so that's going to be very nice. So if I go out, and you can see I can drag, and now I'm offsetting the time of my alembic. That's something you cannot really do with BGOs. So that means we can also now use this to, well, to like, we can put any attribute we want in here. If we were to type just at frame, or just maybe at time, not at frame, at time, then it would just be like this. And then we type time divided by 3. It would be 3 times as slow. We type divided by 30. It would be 30 times as slow. You can see that's going to be very slow. So, but again, we can do it with an attribute. For example, our go attribute. So this will also work on our copy. So if we just do it after this thing, because if we just look over here, we don't want to pack, by the way, because they're already packed. These will also have the alembic frames on them. So if I copy and paste our thing here. By the way, this needs to run over primitives. So I had said on points before, there was also a reason why it wasn't working. But what I want to do is, well, so this thing will have it grow. Let's just say that we want grow to be, we can maybe, so we hand animate it, or so we, let's just hand animate it first. Let's do grow. Let's start it a little bit later. Let's just grow. Let's just move ahead in time a little bit. Let's put it to 1. Okay, so I think about 3 should be the entire thing. All right, and maybe what we want to say is that we want to say that grow minus equals at curve u. Let's see if we actually have our curve u, because we have our curve u from our curve here. I'm not sure if this is still on there. So curve u, because remember that's the 0 to 1 on the curve. If we have it here, it's still there. This is on primitives, so we cannot just do it like that. Let's first load it in. So float curve u equals points, so we need to grab it from points because we're on primitives. So if we're on primitives, we cannot just use add, because it needs to it doesn't know what to grab by default. So point is going to be 0, curve u. Right. So then we're loading with this the curve u attribute, and then grow minus equals curve u. All right. So you can see now they're not the same anymore. Now the ones on top should, oh, I think they are finishing faster. Let's try curve u times 5 so we can see a little bit easier what's going on, if it's actually working. Minus 10. Oh, I should highlight it actually before I start doing something. Let's just play. Oh, we need to probably, okay, set the grow a little bit higher, set to 5. Right, so now you can see it's the ones down below are gonna grow first, because the curve u value, remember if we're gonna go on our curve, is we have a 0 to 1 value on the curve. It's going to remain there on the points. It's going to remain there on the copies. Here we are keyframing the intrinsic value of the alembic, so just the frame. But then we're subtracting the value of our curve u. So, and I mean, you could ramp this as well. And I'm multiplying it by 2, but it will mean that, and you can see some go negative. We don't want them to start negative. So maybe we want to say if grow is below 0, grow equals 0. All right. So now at least they don't go negative. So now you can see. So if we look at our points, for example, our copies. So primitive 2. Let's look at primitive numbers. So primitive 2 there is going to be the one that's going to grow first. Grow. So that one will start incrementing first. You can see there. And again, you can change this thing if you want to change it. Like you could invert this if you wanted to go the other way around. I could say times -2, for example, and then the ones on top would grow first, but it just looks weird. So let's just not do that. So all right, so let's merge it in. I mean, pretty cool, right? So now we need to, of course, add these chops, and that's gonna give another problem. Let's just look at the problem first and then how we can solve it. So let's just let's grab our in chops node that we have here. Let's put it down here. Let's put our channel after that one. So now it's gonna load this thing. Oh, we need to unpack our alembics first, else we cannot really use it in chops. So let's do unpack. Because remember, these alembics are packed by default. So if I go in there and I try to select them, you can see they're just treated as point. Let's unpack them. Let's go to channel. All right, let's play. And you can see the issue. So it is working, but there's, all right, it's not that clear everywhere, but you can see, because like same way we have with the leaf and the stem, when they weren't connected, it wasn't really, well, you can see it's not really doing it. So because it's using it's working on each one of these individually. So we need to kind of tell it to, well, do not do that. The problem here is we cannot really use fuse like we did before. Let me just show you. Because chops will need, in this case, a consistent point count, and the point count will change if I go in here. So let me, for example, if I'm going to fuse, like say if I have 506 points here, and I go here, 90 points. Because it's going to, because here they're super small, so it's going to fuse them together. And if I then put this into chops, press play, unless you're on an alien planet that has plants that do this, not really what we want. So this is a thing I had to think about a little bit when I made it, but it's actually quite simple. As a lot of things are, it's just generally you just need to figure out a way to sort of come up with the right solution. So what I did is curve view again, because we use that all the times. Right, so let's just do a sample. Maybe we want to, oh, we already have it, by the way. We already have curve view. That's nice. But we need to transfer it, because what it has now is the curve view from the main branch. We want to transfer attributes, curve view from our packed geometry. So then every curve will have its own curve view. So that should work, I think. And then we can use this curve view to sort of blend the the base edges here to sort of blend them together with the original branch. So let's just have a look at what that would look like. Let's just do an attribute VOP. And let's first input channel. Second input, let's do, let me just think a little bit. Oh yeah, let's just do this thing. And I just have a look at it. All right, let's just YOLO. All right, let's just do import point attribute. Again from the second input. What do we want? Input position. We want to input the position from the other input. And if we plug this into position, we will have the thing without chops. So the first input is going to be with chops. So, but that one has the issues. The second one doesn't have the issues, right? Okay, so we want to mix between the but only on the tips. So we wanna mix positions. Want to mix original position with our import position. Whoop. No. Whoop. Put it in position. Right, so we want to mix. What do we want to mix with? We want to import. We're just going to bind an attribute. What do we want to bind? We want to bind curve view again, right? Curve view. All right. Ramp parameter. Spline ramp. All right. Let's just do it like that. Let's just do it like that. All right, and then we want to use that as the bias. Let's put a spline wrap. Right, let's just have a look and what this is going to do. If this is actually going to work. Okay, so that seems to work. You can see them stick to the original position. Probably only want to do this on our. Let's have a look. Do we want to? Let me just look at my old file where how I did it. 1 second. So what I'm actually thinking, what I might do, because this original curve also has the curve view, we don't really need to blend that one. So maybe we're gonna try is attribute rename. Name, right? That's gonna think. Let's rename point curve view to curve 2. Right, and let's bind curve 2 in there. Let's see if that works. So then we're only doing it with the attribute that's only on the second branch, because then we're not really and that, okay, that doesn't seem to work. So I do need to use the actual curve view in there. Okay, I was thinking maybe that also works, but it doesn't. Right, let's just do it like that. All right. Okay, we do seem to still have a problem. I think I was doing it the wrong way around. Maybe that. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Perfecto mundo. All right. Yeah, now we have this thing. Let's give it some geometry, and then we can start copying our leaves on it.